Hey everyone, we are so excited for you to hear this extra special Valentine's Day bonus episode that we recorded with Melissa Brayden, lesbian romance author extraordinaire. But first, we put a call out for you to share your Valentines, and we're going to read them all out.
I know. I was so excited to get as many as we did.
Right? And also, like, how cute are all these people? Like, I love all these people that love as much as you do.
Right. It made me feel good that we did get as many as we did.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all excited to do it. You know, it's like, here's my Valentine. I had one person reach out and say, "Hey, are you still accepting Valentines?" Yes.
So
Give
good.
them to me.
So good.
So the first one is Happy Valentine's Day to my wife Sarah. I'm a pain in the ass and you are lovely. Cheers to you. Love, Anna. That kind of sums
I'm a pain
up.
in the ass, but you're lovely.
Lovely.
So cute.
Very lovely. And then one of my besties, actually, she did a shout out to CF Frizzell. Everybody knows her as Frizz. She said this about her wife. To Kathy, the true angel in my life, my better half. I love you, my forever Valentine. Isn't that amazing? That's so sweet.
So sweet.
That is so sweet.
I love it. So we got an anonymous one that said, "Dear Queerly Recommended, this is such a fun, cool idea. I would like to send some love to the GCLS Writing Academy 2022. All the students are so wonderful. I love all their stories. Every writer is so enormously talented, and it's a privilege to get to read their works in progress. And I wanted to send some love to our amazing, insightful, extremely inspiring teachers who are brilliantly gifted writers taking their time to pass along some of their magic. Happy Valentine's Day. My cat says Happy V-Day. He loves your podcast too." I think this is the first Valentine I've ever heard of from a cat. Thank you, cat. And we got this one that says 34 years and still I want more. More laughs, more vacations together, more you putting up with my differently wired brain and grumpiness. I eventually get it. We got to communicate, and boy, we do that well sometimes. I love you forever and at least another 34 years.
That
from Ashley.
That makes my heart so happy. That's
Right?
amazing.
How sweet is that?
Now this one made me laugh.
Yes, on a wildly different note.
We have an anonymous one that says, "To hot boss, thanks for the raise. It's my turn to raise you up against the wall." Well, there's some fantasies going on there.
Yes, I see why they stayed anonymous. That is like an HR call in the making.
To my wife Susan, it's been a long time, from lovers to friends and back again. Even during that time in the middle, I couldn't get you out of my head. And now we're married. Thank you for asking me. Oh, we're stuck together now, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Here's to 30 plus more Valentines together. From Diane. Oh,
I love this.
It really
it's a real
is.
second chance romance.
Seriously, there are some massively cool ideas coming from, just reading these Valentines. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's second chances. There's office romance.
Yeah, office romance. Up against the wall. We've read it. We want to read it more. Yep. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to Amy. There is no life I could imagine without you. You've been my shelter through the worst storms, and every beautiful and wonderful thing in this life leads back to you. You've taught me that something doesn't have to be a house to be a home, and you are my home. From Tiffany. That is beautiful.
That's beautiful. And so we actually got one that's a twofer because it's a couple that sent in Valentines for each other. So there's one that says, to M, you warm me up more than my favorite whiskey, which as a former whiskey drinker, that's pretty lovely. And M wrote one to Jay that says, to Jay, you are my favorite person to everything and nothing with.
That is pretty great.
Which I think is pretty great.
Love that.
Yeah. I love that. And the last one is from Kathy Pegau, who actually wrote us a little poem that said, "Roses are red, fries are from France. We love Tara and Kris and queer
I love
romance."
it. That's great.
Kathy, I love that poem, and we love you too. Those were
Thank
so
you
cute.
to everybody who participated. We greatly appreciate it, especially me,
That's right.
It's just so nice. It's so lovely to read about love and to hear about other people's loves, rather than just ones that we read about in books or write about. True love. Real love.
And now Now we're going to go on to the episode and the delightful Melissa Brayden.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Queerly Recommended, the podcast where we recommend queer books, TV shows, movies, video games, and more. I'm Tara Scott, and I review queer women's fiction at The Lesbian Review, Lambda Literary, and Smart Bitches Trashy Books.
And I'm Kris Bryan, a contemporary romance writer with nearly 20 books out through Bold Strokes Books.
We are so excited because this is our very special Valentine's Day bonus edition of Queerly Recommended, and who better to join us than the lesfic queen herself, Melissa Brayden. Woo! Melissa has around 20 romances out about women loving women, also with Bold Strokes Books. And there's a new, I've heard, interactive video game that's out through chapters. Welcome, Melissa.
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for having me on. I didn't know it was a bonus episode.
It's
exciting. I'm here on bonus day. It doesn't get better than that.
Right?
Yeah.
We figured that since love is I love Valentine's Day. It's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the non-holiday holidays, I love Valentine's Day. So we wanted you on because, you write about love. And
I do.
Yes. And so talk about chapters. Like a long time ago, not a long time ago, but I remember you were talking about it. And then all of a sudden, it's here now. So tell us about chapters and tell us what it is, how people can find it, and anything else you can add.
Well, I think I'm very lucky because it could have not happened. I am somebody who needs to be better about email. Let's just get that right out there right now. And the chapters folks were great. And I didn't know anything like this existed. And so if you're out there and you're wondering what the heck are they talking about, you're kind of like me in that sense. And so they emailed me and said, hey, we're interested in making an interactive, kind of choose your own adventure of some books that you wrote. And I kind of laughed that off and thought that's very funny. And you kind of think that these things get sent out a lot. So I don't think I responded, which was dumb because this has happened to me before in other mediums where I haven't responded to something that turned out to be really cool. Because I'm really bad at telling what's important and what's not. So, cut to the conversation actually happening. And I realized not only is this a legit thing, this is a really cool thing. This is something that I can't believe as a romance reader myself, I wasn't aware of. So I went out and explored chapters. And what it is it's an app that allows you to go in and pretty much select the story of your choice, lots of different books. And I think they have some originals as well. And then you get to be in the shoes of the main character and walk a little bit on their path and make decisions for them as you go on. And so, they made a really nice deal for 4 of my books. And so the first one that they contracted is Kiss the Girl, which is book 1 in the Soho Loft series. And that one debuted last month, I guess. And the first 5 chapters were dropped, and then the following week, 5 more. And so they tease you a little bit. And I played the first 5 so far, and I got left on a cliffhanger, and I don't know what's going to happen.
I started. You don't know what's
that's rude. Well, because to me, it sounds like I started it. I didn't finish it yet, but I've played dating sims before, and you get the whole game. It's not like you don't get the whole game at once. So to say oh, by the way, you gotta wait.
Come back next week
mm-hmm.
to find out. And you know what else is interesting is just to kind of, make more of a game out of it. When they give you a choice, like, what do you want to do in this moment? Sometimes you have to spend your little jewels. I don't know if they're jewels or diamonds. I call them jewels, to do the thing that you would like to do in that moment the most. But if you have not been frugal with your jewels, you might be left in a lurch. For example, I had a really good thing going with Jessica Lennox. We were flirting, we were bouncing off each other with our witty dialogue, and then she's running for the elevator. And it tells me that I can stop the elevator and let her come along with me for the ride, which of course that's preferable. Or I could shout out, hey, I'm trying to stop it for you. Or I could let it slam in her face. and I was out of jewels. So all I could afford to do was let it slam in her face. And so lesson learned when I play some more chapters that I have to be a little bit more frugal with my spending. And there were several instances like that where I had to just be downright rude because I hadn't planned appropriately. And I'm sure that got in the way of my romance, but maybe next time.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, I was really surprised because when you open up the app, it's Kiss the Girl. That is what shows up. And so I think I posted it. I was so excited to see it. I think I tweeted. I was like, oh my gosh, look. And you have it has over 19,000, like the number on it for views. Has over 19,
that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, in the category, it's under LGBTQ, but it's also under CEO, which I mean, I get the CEO concept, but I was really surprised that originally it wasn't in LGBT. It wasn't there. And so they recently moved it over there. But yeah, you're, I think, third highest with 19,000.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
I was super excited.
What's great about that is if it's doing well, I think that opens the door for more of our stories to show up on that particular app. And so I hope that happens and we can kind of come in and make a home for ourselves and see all sorts of stories there. So fingers crossed.
Right. I had somebody respond to the tweet and said that they had made it through the first 5 chapters. And so they were playing it. So it's getting, I mean, people know about it and they're already playing it. I think it's great.
That's cool. I ran into some comments, and if you open it up, it had something like a few thousand comments on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was kind of just skimming through, seeing what people thought. Overall, it sounded really positively reviewed, which made me happy.
Yeah.
Not that I have much experience with this at all, but that was very cool.
That is cool. I know that you can get it like ad free, maybe. I don't know, because every single time I open it, you have to go through like a bazillion.
Yeah, I played the free version, but I will be upgrading now because there will be more books. So
right, for sure. Yeah.
So are you sharing which other books they've picked up? Are you allowed to say?
I am. It's all 3 of the Soho books. So we'll have those 3 as well as Waiting in the Wings. So I want to see what they're going to do with Waiting in the Wings. The theater backdrop, that should be really cool.
I have thoughts about that book, but that's not the point of this podcast. I still remember like when the breakup happened and like how I felt at the time and just the like
4 years later.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And I had read a lot of romance, but I hadn't read a romance that did that before. And so it was just this very like gutting. How can that be? So I'm really curious to see how that plays out with the chapters on.
Well, me too. And part of the deal is once they take the book, it's in their hands. And so I've run into some things, playing Kiss the Girl. I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. I didn't write that, but that's fun. Okay, we'll go in that direction. Or that person didn't appear in this scene, but all right, here they are. So, they have to make it work for a video game environment, which I completely understand, but it's fun for me to kind of see those changes. So we'll see if they do the 4-year jump or not.
I think that your voice still comes through. I can
Does
definitely
it? Good.
Yeah, for sure. I made sure because it's so short. Everything is like so condensed. And, it talks, 2 sentences and then it gives you a choice of something, but it really still tells a story.
Good. I'm glad you feel that way. I did notice that they kept some of the dialogue true to what you find in the book.
Yeah. So I did hear your voice in there. So
good. That makes me happy.
Okay. Since Valentine's Day is right around the corner, we thought it might be fun to talk about our favorite things related to the holiday. Love, romance, just Valentine's Day in and of itself. So I guess we're going to start with an easy question. Easy. What is everybody's favorite on-screen kiss? Melissa, we'll start with you.
That is not an easy question, and you know that. Wait, so this was on screen, right?
On screen. TV, movies, plays.
I'm going to go with something that might be controversial for the 2 of you, because I've heard a rumor that there was some debate about the movie Imagine Me and You.
I wouldn't say there was debate. We were in agreement.
Right.
Yeah, but you're very
not
wrong.
with the rest of the world.
You're very wrong.
You're very wrong. And I'm glad that I could be here on this special Valentine's bonus show to set you both straight about the wonders of the movie. So I'm going to go with the Flower Shop Kiss. to further prove my point about the movie. And that's going to be my answer. When she bursts in and they kiss on the bed of roses, I'm going with that. And I don't know that you're going to be able to beat me.
Okay, so I will say this. It was, and we talked about this, that we thought that their kissing was organic and it felt, it seemed natural. And that's one thing I want to see on screen is I want to see the chemistry. I want to see the natural organic kiss. It was just the plot that we weren't great on, right, Tara?
You're just
We
wrong.
had
And some
issues.
of the acting.
Well, yeah.
And the pants choices.
The pants choice, that's right. But I mean,
No.
all of
I think
it
the
wasn't.
problem was that we saw it in the year 2021, which I don't think was the right time to see it for the first time, when there's so much more kind of queer media out there. And I think I was also expecting, I'm not done. Wait, I was expecting it to just be about the two of them. And so much of it was about the husband's experience. And I was like, why are all these people telling me to watch? Like, if you watch that trailer, it sounds like it's his movie. And so it was a very strange, I don't know. I want to see more of their epilogue is all I'm saying. I'm not sure I fully believe in their happily ever after.
Oh, this is crushing. I really think you need to spend more time. Have you watched the director's cut with the director commentary underneath?
I watched what was available on Amazon Prime, and I did watch it twice. I watched it once to watch it, and then once for the commentary.
So
we could sit together, and I could recite it with you.
That sounds really nice.
But here's the thing: so many people so many people in Lesfic, they don't like cheating in anything. They hate it in books.
Yeah, how do they like
will
this
come
movie?
out. Yeah, they will come at you. Any sort of cheating, anything. Yeah, because I've experienced it. And my characters didn't really cheat, but there was like some hint of it. And oh my gosh, they came at me. That's why I'm just kind of like, how's everybody okay with this movie if they hate it in books?
I'm not sure it's the same people, actually, to be honest, because there's like a small, super vocal, will one star every book with cheating. And then there's a bunch of us that are like, I mean, it made for an interesting plot thing.
Yeah.
Well, and I do think that there is a different set of rules for when we're dealing with screen versus page.
True.
Yeah,
I think so. And then there is even a third set of rules once you get it onto the stage. So,
well, and when it came out, there were like no movies if you wanted to watch women falling in love. That was the movie. And then there were maybe a couple of other movies where people died tragically. But like, this was the happy ending movie.
Yeah, I still haven't found one that I like more though. So
really,
no, I'm trying.
All right.
And I thought by now we'd have a million light, fluffy, fun rom-coms, and we just don't.
I agree. There was one that, and I can't even remember what the movie was called. We had talked about it, and like Georgia loved it, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This is like the worst movie ever. It had to do with Thanksgiving, and it was just awful. It was just awful.
Yeah.
You know
like
which
Kris
one?
Stewart, yeah.
No, not even that one. There's one that was like
but also that one.
Prior to, yeah, but also that one. We can't even talk about that one. But also, I will say that in that, the kissing is organic, and we talked about that too. I believed in the kissing.
Yeah.
You know, as long as I believe in it, that helps.
It was the only good part of that movie. That movie was awful. Well, Dan Levy was also wonderful. But like, the kissing was good.
Yeah.
I believed they were a couple that needed therapy, but could kiss real well.
Right. No, I think I've seen this movie, but only like about 10 minutes of it. I think I agreed with you. On this one, that it was not my cup of tea. But I like that you keep your bar for kissing is it must be organic, and I'm like,
I have to believe it.
I got to take it further than that, though, Kris. I got to say it can't just be organic. I need it to be like passionate and hot, and like the chemistry just needs to bounce off those walls. It can't just be.
You can't tell me that they bounced off the walls and imagined me and you.
Oh my gosh, I so can.
Roses.
I so can, and I will.
I mean.
I implore you to try again because this is tragic. The takeaway, I can't.
I love love. You know this about me. You know I love romance. You know I'm
a little shocked. I heard this rumor of this discussion. I was shocked.
I know.
I had trouble sleeping.
But you're right. It has to be passionate, and you have to really feel it, and have to be excited for them to get together. You know, you just need that oh, they're gonna kiss, oh, and you know that whole moment. That's what
I was,
and you were. I was not. I was like, okay. They're cute. That was it for me. And like they are believable, but there was so many other problems with that movie. So yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. What about you?
I'm gonna write a 30-page dissertation instead of this podcast.
Okay. We welcome it.
Kris, what was your pick?
Okay, so this is super hard for me because everybody knows that that's all I do is watch movies, watch TV shows, watch all that. And I had a real hard time with this because it was really hard to narrow it down. But I picked a scene in Atomic Blonde because Charlize Theron, hello, that alone, she's top 5, where she makes out with Delphine, who is played by Sofia Boutella. And not only was it super hot and passionate, and it was completely believable, and Charlize just has such a beautiful mouth, and it was just, I love that. I love that whole scene in there. So I don't know how many people have seen that movie. It's a great movie if you haven't seen it, but that's my scene that I picked. Of course, tomorrow it'll be a different scene, but right now, tonight, I'm going with Atomic Blonde.
Good one. So mine is not super passionate because it's from a kid's show. And that's not really what happens in kids' shows. But hear me out. It's from so Kris, remember when Sinclair Sexsmith, we were talking to them and they were recommending Steven Universe. Mm-hmm. So this is a kiss from the show Steven Universe. And I'm going to try and explain it, and it's going to make no sense because you've never seen the show, but I'm going to do my best anyway. So there is a character named Garnet who is this like giant woman with like 3 eyes, and it doesn't matter, but she's actually the fusion of 2 gems. So she's the fusion of ruby and sapphire. And I guess that's kind of a bit of a spoiler, but also the show ended years ago. So I'm sorry if you're not caught up on Steven Universe, like it's too bad. And you don't find out until like late until I think the first season that she's a fusion, until like they're split apart and they're separated. And just like the panic that they have at being separated, and they're actually tiny when they're ruby and sapphire, which I also find delightful and adorable. But like when they come back together, it's the most beautiful, pure thing. And it was shown on Cartoon Network for families, which I also think is amazing. Like just the rep for kids to get to see this, that it's this like normal, beautiful thing. There's so much queer rep in that show, but they were the first that really, I just had this little warm burst in my chest when I saw it the first time because it was so perfect.
I got nothing. I can't. Because I haven't seen it.
That's fair. I don't know if it would be your jam, but that's okay.
I think you sold it very well. I think you both had great explanations for your kissing scenes.
Well, we've talked about the on-screen kiss. What's next, Tara?
All right. How about favorite on the page kiss? So Melissa, what's your pick?
Yeah. So this one was hard. I went back and forth, and I don't know why this one was so much harder than the on screen. There wasn't one that just rose to the top. But recently I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And there's a moment that is not a traditional kiss, but it stood out for me in the narrative. And it is when she goes and she kisses the television screen during the Oscar acceptance speech.
That's great.
And they have a callback to that moment later in the book, and it becomes kind of something special, and it becomes a signal that's used later on. And I thought that was such an interesting and clever device that rang true. So I really did enjoy that particular callback. So I'll go with that because it's not traditional, and it got me right here on that callback later.
Yeah. That was a great book, and everybody needs to hear that book or read that book. Tara, you're up. I mean, you need to read it.
Listen, tell the Calgary Public Library to come through with the audiobook.
I'm going to get you the audiobook. I'm going to get you the audiobook, and I want you to listen to it, and you'll be like the rest of us saps out here that were bawling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I cried so hard on that so many times.
Yep.
But that was a very good kissing scene.
Non-traditional, but good.
Right. Non-traditional and good. That's true. Yeah, it was super hard for me because when I read a book and we get to the scene where they kiss and there's that buildup, every book is good, and you want that buildup, and you're on that journey with those characters to get them to kiss. And so it was really hard for me to pull one example. It was really, really hard. But then I thought, okay, I know something, and it's kind of cool because it goes with what we were talking about earlier. So there's this first kiss that printed off really weird because I pulled it off my Kindle and then I tried to print it, which don't tell anybody. I guess you're not supposed to do that. And so it kind of printed.
Bezos is coming for you.
You're going to Kindle jail now.
Yikes! I know. So, and here's the deal. For me, I don't know that I like the slow burn, but I don't like the right off the bat kiss. It's not my thing. I like the characters to get to know each other better, and I like the back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
And that is my thing. But then we were talking about chapters and Kiss the Girl, and I thought that was a great first kiss.
Well, because we take it away. It happens and we take it away for a while, so then we have to build back up to it.
Right.
So it still kind of fits your rules. It's just,
It was just very clever and cute, and it was like, it was such a surprise, and it was a good surprise. But yeah, I like the build up, but that was really clever. I like that, and I don't ever like the kiss that early, in chapter 2.
Good.
I think. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it was early.
So that was a good kiss for me. I liked that.
Yay! Awesome.
So that was almost my pick, and then I thought, I'm not doing that. Well, but I do. It is one of my very favorites. Well, right. And also because it shows like that immediately right away. It's like, oh, these people have chemistry. And so I didn't care that it was right away in the book. But then I got to thinking about it. And then I remembered the book Tricky Wisdom by Cameron Ide. Have either of you read that book before?
I haven't read it yet, but I know of it.
It's a fake relationship book between two med school students. And the idea is that they're roommates. Olivia is like the ice queen one, and she's like very, very icy. And then Darcy is like the more laid back kind of roommate. And Darcy has had a crush on her friend back home for a long time. And basically is like, "Ooh, I have a chance to shoot my shot when I'm going back for Thanksgiving. Can you please come and pretend to be my girlfriend?" And for whatever reason, Olivia says yes. Their first kiss is, if I'm remembering correctly, it's almost like a for show thing because they think she's going to see her, she's close by or something. And it's terrible. But the thing that I love about how bad it is that it's like they have this really horrible kiss that's immediately followed by an incredible kiss. And so I loved how it subverted my expectations as a reader, because kisses are only ever amazing in romance, except this time when it was like, oh, that was bad. Oh, wait, this is better.
A journey. It's a journey.
Yes, it was a journey. And to me, that's actually probably my favorite aspect of that particular book, too.
Right. Because, a lot of times first kisses are awkward in real life.
Mm-hmm.
They're not right, and that's probably why we like them so much in romances, because they're perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's
and
true.
In this case, this is more realistic. How many times have you had a really good first kiss?
Oh, God, it's been a real long time since I've had a first kiss.
Well, it's been a while. But historically speaking, mine haven't been great. I'm just throwing that out there. Real life, sometimes I just don't get it.
I had one in high school, and we were like at an actual fireworks show. So where I grew up, if what people say is true, the fireworks show that they do, it's kind of around like 4th of July, because I grew up in a border city. So there was like Detroit on one border and Windsor on the other. And so they would do fireworks basically to cover both sides of the border. And they said it was like the largest fireworks show in North America. Is that just marketing? Probably. I don't know. But I had a first kiss there. And I remember thinking, wow, this is supposed to be one of those like magical settings. All right, I guess I'm kissing this person.
And it was bad. Was it bad?
I don't think it was horrible, but let's just say things didn't work out.
Yeah.
Because again, I was in high school and like, no.
Well, then what is everyone's favorite couple on film or even a book? Go either way. Favorite couple that you have, that you've read about, you've seen on TV, watched in movies, seen in the theater.
That's too broad.
Yeah. When I was writing down my notes for this, I wrote, "This question is rude," even though I helped come up with it.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, this is going to be fun. So, Melissa.
I'm going to limit myself, because if you were to say like in movies and TV and anything, I could never come up with an answer for you, because the universe feels vast all of a sudden and I want to get it right. So I'm going to limit myself to genre. And so I really love Kate and Robin from and playing the role of herself. I think I'm going to go with that because we talked earlier about chemistry and
Mhm.
it's just oozing off of those pages. And so that is a couple that I don't think I'll ever get tired of.
Mhm. That's a
Okay.
good one.
Yeah, it is.
Chris, did you pick one?
I did. Everybody knows my answer.
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
What?
Oh, wait, is it?
Way, way hot? Is it way hot?
Oh,
It is way
yeah,
hot.
of course
Come
it is. Of course it
on.
is. I was stupidly thinking books when I should have known. Like, you go to the conference. Like, come on.
know. I go to the conferences. Come on. Way hot. Yes, Waverly Earp and Nicole Hott from Winona Earp.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My characters have a very positive, openly queer relationship in a town, and nobody questions them. They're very accepting. That's just the way it is. And the whole series ended on a positive note for them. So, I mean, they were so cute, and they fought for each other, and it was just wonderful to see them fall in love. And in my opinion, they didn't have a great kiss. Their very first kiss wasn't great. And that was probably a mistake that I said at one point. But their chemistry got a lot better on screen, the more into the relationship they got. So way hot for sure.
Nice.
we should have seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I scrolled through literally every woman-loving woman romance that I 5-starred on Goodreads. I give away way too many 5 stars is what I learned, first of all. But secondly, so it was really hard because then I started to feel guilty about all the couples that I was not going to name. And I know that they're not real
yeah.
people, and I know they're not going to take it personally. I'm going to say sorry anyway. So where I landed was Catherine Ayers and Lauren King from The Red Files and Under Your Skin by Lee Winter. I love The Red Files to an unreasonable degree, which if anybody's been following my reviewing, my podcasting, anything I've been doing, they probably know that. And I guess the thing I love about them is that they start off super antagonistic. Again, like Catherine is a total ice queen. She's a mega bitch. The kind that I love to read about, but like I'd never want to spend any time with in real life. I don't want to spend time with people like that, but like I want to read about them because they're fun to read about. But like Lauren is she's laid back and she's funny and she doesn't actually care that Catherine is that serious. And they're forced to investigate something together and kind of find love along the way. And so what I really like is that because there's a sequel, so they get together in The Red Files and we see them planning their wedding in Under Your Skin. And in Under Your Skin, you actually get to see how different Catherine is with her versus with everyone else. And so there's that really beautiful dichotomy there, and you see that she has this incredibly tender side that's only available to one person, but she will like stone cold murder someone with her words if they're not that person.
Complicated.
Yes, I could have listed like 5 other couples. Oh man,
Yeah,
so many Radcliffe books. There were couples that I was like, oh, but what about them?
No,
Well, what about them?
That comes up in a later question for me.
I had her on my old podcast once, and I was like, so do you think you'll ever write a book for Diane and Valerie? Please and thank you. I was much nicer than that, but she was like, yeah, people ask me that every so often, and all I can think was like, so write the book, please.
People will read it.
They're a throwaway couple not throwaway, but like they're just like a minor couple within the Honor series, but they're so good, and they haven't been there for the last 3 or 4 books. And I keep getting the books when they come out thinking, what, are they here now?
Where are they?
Yeah. I don't know. Are they alive? No one says. Kris, what's our next question?
We have favorite gift to receive on Valentine's Day. Alyssa, what is your favorite gift?
I am an acts of service person. That sounds bad.
Yes.
So, but yeah, like I had, my closet was cleaned out for me once as a surprise. And it was like, I almost like fell to my knees and wept with joy. Like it was the coolest thing. Like my closet was cleaned out and organized and things like that just really move me. They're a little unconventional, but like an experience, if an experience were planned for me, or if we went somewhere really cool and got the great VIP treatment or some sort of surprise was set up, that's always just going to steal my heart in a way that maybe a gift doesn't in the same sense. I appreciate gifts. I think those are fabulous. Flowers, chocolate. Who doesn't like that kind of stuff? But if you clean out my closet,
You'll love them for life.
come on. So yeah, acts of service is really big for me.
Surprises, yeah. Like I like that whole concept. I didn't even think about a surprise. That's always nice. Because I'm such a am I a control freak? I don't know. Maybe.
Yes. Sorry, did I answer too soon?
Oh, this is what happens when your friends show up on the podcast, by the way, Kris.
Yes. So it's kind of nice to let go a little bit and let somebody else take charge. And so I like the surprise aspect of Valentine's Day. Of course, pandemic, what do you do? But yeah, I do like not knowing. I like the surprise because every day I'm in control of so much. It's just nice to kind of give it away on special days. So
yeah, I like that.
Tara, what about you?
Food.
Wait, first of all, is Canada big on Valentine's Day?
Oh yeah, the marketers, they got us too.
Did they? Okay.
Except I went to a Catholic school when I was in grade school, and they made us learn about Saint Valentine and locked away in his lonely tower writing notes or something, if I recall that far back correctly. Yeah, it is a thing here. I'm not really a big gifts person either, although it is nice. But I mean, also, we're kind of an age where we're old enough and we have money and we buy the things that we want kind of as we want them and need them. And so for Valentine's Day or any day of the year, I mean, food is truly the way to my heart. It's just, if you know that and it can be like my favorite kind of Doritos. It can be my favorite kind of candy. It doesn't matter. As long as if somebody shows up and it's like my favorite one of that thing, then my heart feels happy and I feel seen. It's often ice cream. Neil will just show up. Sometimes he's like, I know you've had a real shit day. And he'll just have like a thing of the Tonight Dough ice cream from Ben and Jerry's. And it's like, yeah, thank you.
That's the best. I love that.
All right. So when we were planning this, we thought, well, we can't just say one. That would be impossible and cruel. And why would we set ourselves up for failure? So what are your favorite 3 romances that live on your reread shelf? Melissa.
And we're going to do we want to stay women loving women, genre specific to the podcast, or you want to go back to when I was 12 and hiding?
Are you still reading them?
Roberts and Danielle? I read all romance. Yeah. I'd say the ones that resonated with me would be, and still do, would be Star by Danielle Steele. The reason being on that one, I didn't know romance novels existed until that book. And
which one was that one? Star. I read, so I remember what I remember of her books. I remember by like vague premises, because the summer I turned 12, my mom collected every Danielle Steele novel. And that summer I said, Mom, can I read your Danielle Steele books? And she kind of went, you could see like she was kind of going through the processing in her brain. She was like, yeah, that's fine. And I read all, there were like 30 or 32 of them. And I read them that summer.
Right.
And then I kept up with them for another, I think through high school. And then there started to be some weird ones. And that was when I was like, I gotta go.
There was a shift, wasn't there? There was a shift in her writing career. But Star was the one about Crystal, who kind of has to be banished from her farm because her brother-in-law was such a creep, and her brother is killed in the very beginning of the book. That's not a spoiler. And she goes off and becomes a very famous country singer.
Oh yeah, that one.
And then there's Spencer, who is like the older guy, and we kind of followed them for years. And I did not understand that a romance novel existed until Star fell into my hands, and I could not wait to get home from school to figure out what was going to happen in this love story that they have to get together. And it was a big reread for me for years. And I think I was maybe 6th grade when I read Star. And next I would fast forward to my freshman year of college, when Paradise by Judith McNaught was passed down every single dorm room of the 4th floor of this thing, the tattered cover, it was ripped, but it would like, you've got to read this, and you'd read it and you'd pass it on to the next room, and just everyone. So Paradise was probably a little bit more of an adult book than some of the earlier stuff I had read, and it was more contemporary in nature, and it was I think it was a pivotal book for me, especially in terms of influencing me now as a writer. When I look back over how I developed, I think that book was instrumental. And so if you haven't read Paradise, I definitely recommend it. And then fast forward, I only can choose 3. Okay. I would have to say
we don't care.
I'm cheating. I'm doing more.
Well, when I just look at the first handful of books when I discovered Women Love and Women books, which would have been, I guess what, in the early 2000s or so, there was Too Close to Touch, Georgia's book. That was a big reread for me. I love, and playing the role of herself was huge. I read that book many times.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big rereader, so that says a lot that I've done that with those books. I love, and Tara, I've talked to you about this before, Letters Never Sent by Sandra Moran. That one stole my heart. And so I would include that book as well. And there's so many. Radcliffe was a big reread for me early on. I love the Honor series. I love the Provincetown series, but I think it was Turn Back Time. I think that really was a big reread for me with Winter and Pierce.
Oh yeah.
They were doctors. It was great.
What about Faded Love though?
I like Faded Love too, but everyone has Faded Love here and Turn Back Time just beneath it. I would reverse them in my order. I like Turn Back Time more, but I think I'm on my own on that one.
I think I have kind of the 2 of them and then Crossroads all on roughly the same for me. Like I like all 3 of those medical ones together.
Yeah. All
yeah,
good.
Faded Love is definitely on my list.
Well, Kris, do your list.
I know. Well, Melissa took all of mine. So
good.
Right here, you can also see on
so
my
maybe
notes.
You have 3 now?
Yeah, on my notes it says Too Close to Touch. I have that's definitely, I've reread that one. Out of lesfic, that's probably my biggest reread. I have Faded Love, Quinn and Honor. I mean, that's a great story. It's just a great story. And I didn't even think about when we were kids, and I've talked about this a bazillion times. I mean, if we're going to go that way, I read a lot of Danielle Steele and Nora Roberts, but I love Sidney Sheldon. I mean, that was a lot of intrigue and romance too, like Master of the Game and Rage of Angels. There was a miniseries, Jacqueline Smith. I was in love with Jacqueline Smith when I was a kid. I mean, to this day, sure, too. But she was the character in Rage of Angels and then a couple other ones that followed. And yeah, so that got me on the romance train real fast. It's funny because my mom is German, so she doesn't read anything English. And so my dad had all these Sidney Sheldon books, and I'm like, I'm just going to read this. Mom's like, okay. And Sidney Sheldon's pretty hardcore. So Sidney Sheldon really, really got me going on that. And then another one I like to read is Winter Jacket.
Oh yeah, I still haven't read that one.
Yeah.
Which I know is bad. I've heard it's really good.
It is really good, and it's a very simple book, but it's so good because because it's very simple, but it's also, the whole teacher-student thing, and you want to know why she wears her winter jacket too.
Did you read the whole series?
On. I have not read the whole series.
Did you read the one? So apparently there's one. Well, I think it was when Megan Ulrich was on my old podcast. She recommended it, but I think she said there was one where it takes the story from Winter Jacket and flips the perspective.
I think so. I think I started that one, but I kind of it's one of those where you just kind of want it, something you found that's so good, you just want it to leave it alone because it's in your head and it's in your heart a certain way, and sometimes it's okay just to leave it there. And so that's how I feel. I mean, that's how Melissa feels about Imagine Me and You. So I figured,
you stop it right now.
I'm surprised we didn't lose half our listeners after putting that.
I don't know. I see some future debates at a bar some night. I see it happening.
I know. Let's do this. The pig. And we were talking. I'm Googling something now. I'm stalling because the one book or the one movie I saw when I was either 11 or 12. I'm Googling this right now. It was a movie with Carrie Fisher and John Ritter. And this is the movie that got me into, it's called, what is it called? Leave Yesterday Behind. Huh. So it was, gosh, I don't even know, 1978. So I didn't see it when it came out. No, I didn't see it when it came out.
You were not born.
No, I literally saw it in the 80s. I really did. And that, I kept watching it, and I would go to bed early, at 7:30 at night, I would go to bed because in my head, I would keep playing that movie over and over and over again. And so that had such a big impact in my life. And I'm sure if I watched it now, I'd be like, this is the worst fucking movie I've ever seen. But for me as a child, you know, that just did it for me. That got me into romance. That got me into thinking about it all the time. And that's what got me into writing. So.
That's great. I love Kris at night with her little imagination time.
I know. Like, why are you going to bed at 7? My sister, why are you going to bed at 7? Leave me alone. I thought I was doing other things, but I really was reconstructing the what I saw. So it was so beautiful. So
that's great.
I don't know if it still is, but and I don't want to know. It's one of those where it's a little capsule in my heart. It's going to stay there. It's going to stay untouched, and it was just beautiful at the time.
I feel that way about Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. That was like my shit when I was like 12.
I did too.
Dr. Quinn and Sully was just like my couple, and I'm afraid to go back. I can't because it's what if it's terrible? It probably is.
I hope not. I recorded that.
Jane Seymour.
I would go to class.
We all crushed on her.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't realize it at the time. But again, as an adult who understands, I was like, oh yeah, that was why I watched it.
That's what was going on.
For sure.
So I did pick 3 books. Although if we're going to go way, way back, I'm going to add. And also like not queer books. So Jane Eyre was my one that I read over and over and over and over again. I thought it was the most romantic thing. My high school English teacher gave it to me when I was 14. And unfortunately, I went back to it in my 30s and was like, oh, Mr. Rochester was so gross. And what he was asking of Jane was so inappropriate. And I kind of wish I would have just left it in the past because I had a lot of good memories of that book. But yeah, I probably read that book more than any other book. I've probably read it 20 or 30 times in my lifetime. But in terms of lesfic books, I chose All That Matters by Susan X. Maher.
I love that one.
Good one.
So good. One that I can't say, I'm trying to think of how to say this kindly, because it's like a first book. And I think we have to be kind sometimes to like first books. It's not a perfect book, but one that like I get sucked in every so often just because of the characters is Course of Action by Gunn Brooke. There's just something about the chemistry between those two leads that I just love and completely gets me. Didn't Stay in Vegas by Chelsea M. Cameron. I love is so fun because it's about 2 best friends who wake up hungover in Vegas and they're married. And one of them is a completely useless lesbian who does not recognize that her best friend has been crushing on her, and her best friend Emma, who's like, what if we stayed married because of like taxes and benefits? I'm like, I know benefits are like a real bad situation in the States sometimes, but like, I don't know, maybe that's enough, but there's like no angst. And it's super lovely. And then my other one, we've all gone way over 3.
Right.
All right. Totally fine. We're breaking our own rules.
I have a fanfic, which is Truth and Measure by Telanu, which is a Devil Wears Prada fanfic that basically says, what if Andy didn't quit? What if she stayed? And what if Miranda got pregnant and her marriage fell apart? Well, her marriage was falling apart anyway, but she got pregnant. And what if Andy helped her and they kind of fell in love all the way? And here's the thing. The premise sounds kind of like, really? But I heard it recommended on a podcast that Andy Marquette and Jove Bell used to do a long time ago. And Jove Bell was the one that was like, oh my God, you guys, you have to read this fanfic. It's like 300,000 words. And I was like, okay, I'll bite. Because she spoke really passionately about it. And then I couldn't put the fucking thing down. It was like 3 days. It consumed my life. And I've recommended it to other people where they were like, that was so good. And it has this incredible thing where Miranda recognizes that she has feelings and she says, okay, what if we were together, but it was platonic? And Andy is like, are you kidding me? And it's totally ridiculous. And then it just ends up in the most incredible payoff. And so here's the thing about this fanfic, though. The author is actually Rosalind Sinclair, who is published with Ilva, did the X-Files and the other one, The Lily and the Crown. And so she's rewritten it and it's being released this spring in 2 volumes, a month apart each. One of them called Truth and Measure, the other one called Above All Things. And like, I am equally parts excited beyond belief and completely terrified.
I was going to say, are you going to sleep? This is a big deal.
Well, it's a big deal, but also I love the fanfic so much that I'm just afraid, like, what if I don't love the books as much?
Yeah.
Because on the flip side, like recently we watched the film Eternals and I heard that it was the most boring thing ever. And so I went into it and I was like, all right, well, this is going to be boring. I'll just keep my Nintendo Switch nearby so I can start gaming, like, if it's that bad. And then I actually really liked it, but I can't do that.
Because you already have your expectation. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. But yes, I mean, the fanfic is still all of her fanfic, even when they're rewritten, because she does truly, to be fair, because I've seen some fanfics where it's like, so that was like lightly dusted and then published. Like, no, she full on rewrites her stories to turn them into original fic. So, I mean, I can always go back to the fanfic, I suppose.
It's not going anywhere. That's right.
No. So before we close, Melissa, you have a book that's coming out soon. Can you tell us what it's called? When's it coming out? What's it all about?
It's called Exclusive, and it's a March release. And it's the story of Skylar Ruiz, who is a reporter kind of out in the sticks covering a string of small towns, and really just can't get her foot in the door of TV news the way she has always hoped to. And because of some connections through some family, she's able to score an interview at a San Diego news station, which is a top 30 news station. And because some things work out, she gets her big chance to report for the big time. And she is working alongside her longtime crush and veteran news anchor, Carolyn McNamara, who maybe isn't so friendly at first, but perhaps that changes as they work together. It's near and dear to my heart. That was my first job out of college, as I was a TV news reporter here in San Antonio before I realized that I did not have the thick skin required for that particular job, but I do have fond memories and I did love the industry a great deal. So it was fun to kind of pull back on some of my own experiences and weave them in different ways and see those things play out in fiction. And it's also a callback to my second novel, Heart Block, because Skylar, the main character, is the younger cousin of Sarah Matamoros. And so we do revisit Emery and Sarah in that book and see what they're up to and see what struggles they're encountering.
Fun. I really liked that one. So I'm glad to hear that we're going to go back to them. Oh, shit. That's a book that I reread a lot.
We got some glimpses of them.
Mm-hmm.
We get some glimpses of that couple. They've got some stuff going on.
That sounds so good.
I know, and that's coming out like just in a couple of weeks, so that's exciting.
Yeah, it's a
March 1st, right? Yeah.
March 1st, it'll be out on the Bold Strokes website, and then a couple weeks after that, you can get it everywhere else. So that's not too far away. It's crazy how time flies.
Well, I think that's all for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us, Melissa. Where can people find you online if they want to connect with you?
Oh, well, they can find me pretty much anywhere they would like to go. I just hang out everywhere, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I just started exploring TikTok. I haven't fully figured it out yet the way Kris has. But hopefully she will offer me some tutorials and I can figure out this medium. But if you want to see some videos about books, dogs, and kids, you can head over to my page as I try to figure it out.
Yeah, but I love the one with the coffee. I don't know what you're singing, but you're like fade in and you're like, yeah, toddler, don't mess with me. And you like fade out. It's great. I love it. I love it.
I have fun.
I'm going to go check that out later. So if you've all enjoyed this show, please make sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you listen to podcasts. You'll get notified whenever we release an episode. Or if you have a friend that you think would like the show, please tell them about it. And if you'd like to support us financially, we do have a link to Ko-fi in the show notes, or you can visit kofi.com/queerlyrecommended. Not at all necessary. Definitely appreciated though.
Or if you want to connect with us on your favorite social media sites, just search for Queerly Recommended on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or email us at podcast@queerlyrecommended.com. So goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
And don't forget to send your Valentine's Day
Nope.
by text. Oh,
We'll
no,
cut that part out. That's going to be, it's okay. Just say your last part and then we're done.
What are we saying goodbye then? I mean,
yes, we're just not telling them about the Valentines because we're going to have them cut into this episode at the end of it. That's okay. I forgot to pull that part out of the outline.
That's your fault.
That is my fault. It's my fault. I am sorry.
Your fault. It's okay. All right. And I'm Kris Bryant, a contemporary romance writer with nearly 20 books and novellas out. Fuck.
Just do your part again. This is gonna be a good one. I can tell.
This is how it goes.
This is my second Zoom today. So, okay.
Oh my God, you big baby! You are.
I know. I'm not used to that. I'm not used to Zooms, and I had one last night that lasted forever. Okay.